We're back, and I'm feeling as old as dirt. 35-year reunion talk coming up on Background Noise, the Henson Family Podcast. Let's go. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for listening, and if you're new to the podcast, thanks for tuning in. We very much appreciate it. If you don't know if you've noticed, but we've taken several weeks off just with, life going on, just grandbaby to take care of and babysit and just things going on. And I got to be honest, this whole podcast thing is taking more time and effort than I originally thought it was going to. And so getting these episodes out, I know, cry me a river. But we may switch to, instead of doing every week, we may do every other week, or, who knows, we may even just switch to some sort of ad hoc posting out there whenever we get a chance. So as far as the Henson family, I am flying solo today, but we do have a special guest host with us, Amy Landreth.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for making me.
I didn't make you do this.
Sort of.
No. Okay. I can cut it off right now if you want. You wanted to do this.
I did.
So
I'm just a little nervous.
No reason to be nervous. I hate hearing myself. I remember watching home videos and telling Amy, make sure I don't talk whenever you're filming, because I hate hearing my voice. And so, naturally I start a podcast.
Totally.
So,
I understand.
So we are here today to talk about our 35-year reunion. So for those that don't know, Amy and I went to school together, first grade through 12th grade.
Yep.
And we lived, 15 minutes apart?
About.
Yeah. And we saw each other 6 days ago today. And then before that was probably like 700 days.
They have been. Yeah. We lived 15 minutes apart growing up and 15 minutes apart for the last 15, 20 years. And we never see each other.
Yeah. It's crazy. All right. So we started off, we got to do a moment of silence for the Dallas Stars.
Oh my gosh.
They choked. 0 for 14. I guess I need to do the silence part. Okay, that was enough. They were 0 for 14 on the power play. They actually gave up shorthanded goals. That just sucks.
It's not good.
Yeah, we'll get to maybe talk about brewskis later. We went to a sports bar in North Little Rock, and we're trying to watch the game on the Friday night before the reunion, but brewskis had other plans with their satellite cable and
karaoke.
The god-awful karaoke that my ears are still ringing. So so the Stars are out, but let's go Mavs. So tonight we're actually recording this on June the 6th, and Mavs versus Celtics game 1 is tonight, so go Mavs. So all right, so the reason we are here, our 35-year reunion, and we went to a private school in the North Little Rock area, Central Arkansas Christian, and it was started in June of 1970 by 8 families from various local Church of Christ churches. So CAC is what we'll call it for short, which is what everybody calls it. It has a Church of Christ affiliation, and these families had a vision for a school where children could receive a Christ-centered education. So I'm not going to go through their whole timeline, but back in our day, in the end, what they had was a secondary campus that had 7 through 12, and then 3 satellite elementary campuses, Sylvan Hills, Pleasant Valley, and Guyer Springs, and I think now there's only 2.
Right.
So did they have kindergarten there, or was it just first?
It was junior kindergarten.
Okay. So that through 6th grade.
So yeah, through 6th.
And then once you finish 6th grade, you go out to the big campus.
Mustang Mountain.
Yep. And actually, I didn't realize this until we were talking to Danny Sullivan this past weekend on the tour, because we were talking about how we ended up at CAC, because I live 20 miles from there, and from Mustang Mountain, from the secondary campus. But 2 blocks away from me was Bailey Street Church of Christ, and that building, that facility, I think was the original where they had the secondary school, and I didn't realize that. So they kept running bus service out there, and that's how I ended up going. Well, that's not how I ended up going. The reason I went out there, but so the reason my parents sent me there was, and I asked my mom the other night, why did you send me there? And I guess in Jacksonville at Warren Dupree school I'd have been at, they had some sort of open class concept, no walls, all the different classes in one giant room, and really kind of bizarre. Of course, I don't remember any of this, and they didn't want to put me in that kind of situation, that kind of situation. I was going to get in trouble either way, no matter where I went.
Did you go to kindergarten there? Or did you just...
No, it's all a blur. I can't remember. I remember going up to the Methodist church for something, and boy, I just raised Cain up there. I hated going up there for something. It was probably like pre-K or something like that, but I just couldn't stand going up there. But anyway, my parents didn't want me to be in that open class concept, and then also the neighbors across the street from us, the Hearns, Dale Hearn, he was 2 years ahead of me. I don't know how they found out about CAC, but they enrolled Dale into CAC, and of course, they had good things to say about it. So kind of my parents piggybacked off that. So do you know why your parents sent you?
Yeah, so CAC Sylvan Hills was less than a mile from our house. And my sister's 15 years older than me, and so she had gone to Sylvan Hills all the way through, Sylvan Hills Elementary and all the way through. And when it was time for me to get ready to go to school, they were going to, the district was kind of a mess, and they were going to send me to a school that was really far away, that wasn't the school that my parents had been involved in all along. And so the Freeman family actually lived down the street from us, and Doug Freeman was one of the founders of CAC, the school. And so he was friends with my parents, and so that's how they found out about CAC. And I actually remember, you know how people, when there's a tornado coming and like people here get in a, I don't know, bathtub or a room or whatever, we stood on the driveway. That's just, I guess that's what you do in Arkansas. And I mean, I guess we still do it here.
I would stand out there and watch. And I remember Dale Hearn he and his family would go up the street and get under a bridge.
Oh, well, we stood in the driveway. So I remember at 3 or 4 years old, one of my earliest memories was actually standing on the driveway and watching the tornado hit CAC and Sylvan Hills Church of Christ before I even went there.
Oh, it did?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I'm sure there's records somewhere, but I mean, I just remember it. And that was, I don't even know what kind of damage. But anyway, that's kind of my earliest memory of CAC. But I went to junior kindergarten there. So when I say that I went to CAC for 14 years, I talked to somebody the other day, and they're like, I mean, were you a big dumb dummy? Like, why were you in the same school for so long? But I started in junior kindergarten, and I think Paula Peebles is the only person
that sounds right.
that was in my junior kindergarten class that went all the way through together.
Okay, that sounds right. I don't remember a whole lot about elementary school except I took gymnastics, and I learned to cross stitch.
Cross stitch?
Yeah. What class was that?
Oh, I don't know. That does sound familiar. I do remember having gymnastics, though. We had to go to the multipurpose room, or the multipurpose building.
Big green building.
Big green building.
Yeah. I remember I wasn't terrible, but, whenever you're doing, was that a backflip?
Back handspring.
Back handspring, yes. And they would the teacher would, kind of put their hand under your back and give you a little support before you would do it, And so I got to where I could do it. And then I got home one day, and I was going to impress my dad. And I told Dad, I said, here, just put your hand right here. And thinking that, okay, well, that's enough support. And I tried to do it, and man, I probably got a concussion. I don't know.
Did you dive into
flipped back and just hit my head on the floor. And it's like, it just didn't work like I, thought it out in my head. So that's about all I remember. First through sixth grade. I do remember one other thing. I remember, I guess we would have been in sixth grade. And every year we had chapel. Every day we had chapel. Where we go and sing songs and stuff like that. And they would have announcements. And I remember them, this really stood out for me. They announced that a family that was at the secondary campus had kids at the secondary campus. Their house caught on fire, and everything. They lost everything.
Hmm.
And so they were asking for donations for clothes and stuff like that. And that was Amy's family.
Really?
Yeah, my wife, Amy, who's not here with us, but yeah, that was her family. Their house got completely torched.
I don't remember that at all.
They were at a basketball game not too far from. They lived on 19 acres up a hill, and so they were at a basketball game at a school not too far away, and someone came running in saying your house is on fire. So they would think it was arson.
Oh
They
my
never caught
gosh.
anybody, but yeah, they lost everything. So I remember they were asking for donations. Of course, I didn't know her at the time, but I just remember that standing out, and sure enough, it was her. So okay, so elementary to we'll say we're now going to the big campus, the
Well,
secondary
one thing
school.
I do want to say about the
Mhm.
elementary school, which was weird, because I know we're going to talk later a little bit about weird things, but I remember elementary school playground for like
Mhm.
first and second grade, kindergarten, first and second. It was like really close.
Yeah.
Third through sixth, we literally crossed a street, like just to go, and we played our
In
whole
a
playground, and it was
asphalt parking lot.
an asphalt parking lot, and we played kickball
Yeah.
at an angle. I mean, like the thing was slanted, the
Yeah.
parking lot was slanted, and we played kickball basically every day from third through sixth grade.
Every single day. Yeah.
And of course, I played kickball with the boys. And then the one day that I went and played chase with the girls, I fell and like scratched my arm all up. And I'm like, well, this is
Done
stupid.
with that.
I'm
Yeah.
done with that. So I went back and played kickball.
Yeah.
But we would kick the ball out into like a major highway. Like it wasn't a freeway, but I mean like
Yeah.
a highway. And we just have to run and go get
Did
the
we
ball.
go get those?
I think so. Or the teacher would like come to the end of the fence and like watch us, and we would. I mean, I can just have visions of running out in the street to pick up the ball.
Hmm.
It's weird.
The good old
Now there's a
kickball days.
now there's a like a bridge or whatever across to the.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
I just thought that was a funny thing to.
Go from a nice playground to just an
It's
asphalt
just a
parking lot
big
that
parking lot.
had at least they had the bases painted on there.
Oh,
that we-
did
that we
they?
yeah.
Yeah, remember
Little
that.
squares, and then I think they had four square
Yeah.
on there, and
There was eventually a playground up there, up at the top of the hill. Like I remember,
oh yeah,
parents built it, put in pea gravel and stuff.
yeah, good times. I have a story about that one, but we'll save those. We got. I have a feeling we might be able to get multiple episodes out of our CAC days, so we can do maybe. Of course, I can't remember much from elementary, but
Oh, that's-
secondary, I can probably pull up a few stories. We'll call those stories from the mountain or something. So and go through those. All right. So like I said earlier, we had. Oh, and let me say this real quick. We might have somebody call in. Robin Maynard, who was our person on the ground in Little Rock or in North Little Rock, helping with the organization of our reunion. Actually, for the past couple of reunions,
Mhm.
right? She helps with the organize some stuff there. So if she calls in, we'll have a little producing on the fly and get her connected. So she can only be on for about 10 minutes, but we'll see if she's able to call in. But anyway, okay. So as I mentioned earlier, we had 3 satellite campuses, elementary campuses, and then which fed into the secondary school. So again, I can't remember much, but so when you go to the secondary campus, this is the first time that you're meeting all these kids from the other,
Other two elementary schools.
yeah, the other two elementary schools. So was that stressful? I mean,
It was all 3 different parts of town. So
Yeah.
Sylvan Hills, kind of on the north side of town, and then Pleasant Valley, largely people who may or may not have had more money than the other 2 schools, and then people from Gower Springs, which is
Yeah.
it was just 3 different pockets of people. So it was kind of
Yeah.
an interesting melting pot, at least at first, because everybody had their people.
yeah,
And we ended up with about 60-ish kids in the class. And so there were 3 sections. I remember that. 7th, 8th, there were like 7th and 8th grade, there were 3 sections of 20-ish kids each.
yeah. So for those that are listening that go to these schools later in the public schools and stuff that have these huge senior classes and stuff, we don't. Our classes were really small, so our graduating class was 52. So they're they're really small in comparison to some of the public schools and stuff back then. So everybody knew everybody. It's good and bad. But I remember whenever we would arrive and see the new kids, it's like because you also got sports to think about, and you're competing against they're going to be your teammates, but you're also maybe competing for positions and stuff like that. I don't remember any specifics about any of this, but
The only thing that I remember about Bo is that I thought he was Hispanic.
we're having fun. Okay, so yeah, we're going to skip 7th grade and go to 12th grade, and Stories from the Mountain might be another series later on. So we had a graduating class of 52, and at the time, my wife, Amy's class, she was class of 88. We were 89, and so her graduating class was 63, which was considered big, at the time for them, or for CAC. So, but we were there at 52, and in doing our reunions, there's several people that went to school with us, from in those years 7 through X, that didn't necessarily graduate with us, but we like to keep in touch with. Robin, Leah.
Yeah, I looked back and we had 66 people in our class, like our freshman year. And then there were like 62 sophomore and junior, and it was kind of like some people left, some people came. But going from 62 to 52 between our junior year and senior year we lost a lot of people for a myriad of reasons. And I know some of them, Robin will want to talk about this, but when we had our first reunion can I say this now? We had our first reunion at 5 years, which I do not recommend. It was super weird.
I swear I thought I was there.
I swear the pictures don't show it, but maybe you were. But at 5 years, people are just kind of, I don't know. It was just weird. It was weird. So it was too early. And at that time, there may have been some people that were a little bit militant about who could go to the reunion, like that it only could be the people that graduated with us, and those that didn't graduate with us but were classmates were not allowed to go. But those people who were really obnoxious about that have mellowed in their old age and now don't care. So for the last however many reunions we've had, we've included all those people because we think of them as part of our class.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even when they left, and like Leah left, I think after freshman year, or I think so, after freshman year, and then Angie and Herod and Robin Maynard left after like sophomore year, I think. But they're all part of the class. So from here to forward, we want everybody that was part of the class that wants to come back, whether they graduated with us or not.
I was just looking through the master spreadsheet today that's out on our Google Drive that we use for planning, and just looking at there's a former classmates section, of course. Randy Barber, Leanne Barnes, Aaron Black. I think most of these are in our Facebook group too.
Most of them, yeah.
Casey Cobb, Keith Felton, Kit Goosen. You mentioned Angie Herod, Brian McCoy, Amy Sharp, Marcy Sullivan, Damon White. Did you ever get a hit back on that one?
No, I'm trying.
Okay.
Maybe he'll eventually hear this. And
Damon, if you're out there and you're for some reason wasting your time listening to this,
we've been trying to find you for 35 years.
So reach out. And then Cindy Wimberly is the list that I saw out there. But yeah, I have no problem with having these folks over. I mean, included, the more the merrier. I mean, it's no problem with me at all. And then we've got to mention the few that are no longer with us.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we did a 35, because at 30 we said, okay, 35 is too soon. We're going to wait until 40, and then in the last couple of years we've had 3 of 4 that have pass away, and everybody was more interested in getting back together, sooner. But
so Scott Mersing, Tisha Osborne, Kara Main, and Deanna Weiss are no longer with us, and that really sucks.
it's terrible. And those 3 girls especially were, looking back at the reunions that we had at 5 years and 10 years, and they were always there. So it was definitely when looking back at pictures, it was definitely a void.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Scott has been gone for a long time. Scott's been gone since
That was
right out of
a
college.
rare form of cancer, wasn't it?
Mhm.
I mean, it was crazy. I
Mhm.
mean, he spent a long time down in Houston because it
It
is.
was at MD Anderson.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. So this most recent reunion. So like you mentioned, we had a 5, 10, we had a 20. I think I was at the 20.
Yeah, I think so.
There was one I came in and I could only stay for a day because we were actually leaving to go somewhere. And then a 25, and then a third. Was that 30?
I think you missed 30. I think
Okay.
volleyball trumped 30.
Oh, okay, probably so. Our life revolved around volleyball. And of course, this most recent one with the 35. And so, how that came about, I think it's Fenton, right?
Yep.
So we got a Facebook group, and Mark's the one. Mark Fenton is one that I want to have on.
For 10 episodes, probably. He could fill it
Man,
up.
his stories. He's got some insane stories, and I want to have him on here to tell, give us like his, top 3 or 4 stories, which would just blow your mind. They're hilarious, but hope to have him on. But so in our Facebook group, he brought up the idea of having the 35, and a couple of people said, yeah, let's do it. And then it just kind of gained momentum. So that's really how that started.
And he hadn't been back for a long time. So that was kind of part of our caveat. It's like you're starting the ball rolling. You actually have to come because he
Yeah.
hasn't been able to come for a while.
That's
But
the first time I've seen him since we graduated.
yeah, I honestly don't know that he's been back to one. And Clay McFadden came from California.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that they had been. And so it was not a huge crowd, but the folks that were there, it was really good.
Did not recognize Clay when we walked up. He was just like, okay. And then Carper whispered to me, it's Clay. And I was like, wow. But as soon as he told me that,
Yeah, you can see it.
I see Clay now. So
And Chris Carper offered to host it at his house.
yeah,
And that was really cool.
that was. He's got some land in North Little Rock, so we had plenty of space to spread out and do bocce ball. That's the first time I've ever played that. So that was actually pretty cool. I guess it's like the hillbilly version of curling.
Kind
That's
of.
what I'm going to call it. So, or that's how I'm going to describe it. So, but I may get me a set.
Yeah.
And
It
I think
was
the girls would like playing that. So
it was a perfect way to be relaxed and
Mhm.
have space, and you could do some stuff and just hang out, and it was perfect. It was a perfect environment.
so we did okay. So let's talk about the planning and organizing.
Oh my gosh.
So we've got our master spreadsheet, and there's usually and I can't claim any credit or anything for organizing because I'm just kind of on these text threads, agreeing, yeah, let's do that, okay, and stuff, and so but you and Robin and Angie and Amy really kind of put in the effort and do all this, so it is much appreciated, even though you probably don't hear it. But anyway, so we've got our master spreadsheet out there, and we usually come up with the ideas, for the what we're going to do, which is usually a tour of the school, and to see how it's changed, and then we have some sort of big get together, Saturday night, and then that's pretty much it, right? I mean,
Usually there's something on Friday night. This year we kind of just went informal and
yeah,
what
watch
to
the
watch the
stars go
stars
in the tank.
not do well.
Yeah, that sucked. Anyway, but let's talk about some some frustrations about organizing a reunion. And so I'm going to let you talk about a lot of this because, like I said, I don't do a whole lot of it, but I feel your pain.
Well, it's fun, and it's kind of one of those. I think people knew I would always have my hands in the reunion planning pot, regardless of whether I had an official capacity
For
or
sure.
not. But I don't know. I love it, and it harkens back to the days when Wild River Country was the little like water park that was near us, and so a lot of times during the summers we would plan a little class gathering at Wild River Country. So we'd start out the phone tree, and everybody would just kind of call, or a couple of us would call everybody,
Mm-hmm.
plan a gathering. But we just, like you said earlier, we've gone to school together for so long, so many of us, and like you said, also good or bad. Um, we all know each other pretty well. And so it's just been good to get to see each other. And in the last couple of years, some of us have seen each other at funerals.
Mm-hmm.
And we just wanted the chance to see each other not at a funeral,
Yeah.
but we also really want everybody to come. And that's kind of the thing right now. It's hard to pick that magic time because if you wait a long time, do people just lose steam, or in between times, or do you keep the momentum because you have these conversations on Facebook or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
you're doing it. So once Mark said we need to do it, and there were enough people that said okay, then
Initially.
initially, then we went straight to the little updated the master spreadsheet from the last time and kind of going through and seeing who went last time and who. And so I just put out these little Google forms, try to get responses.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because a lot of people seem really interested at first. And then for whatever reason, just because of the date, I mean, I know there were some people who were traveling and
Yeah.
celebrating anniversaries or whatever, and the date just didn't work. But it's so hard. You can't like put out a poll and say, hey, 52 people, what date works best for you? Because
Yeah.
then you would get 52
52
different answers. So we just kind of had to pick the date that would work for the people that were planning it and the place, mostly the place that was hosting it.
Yeah.
But that's hopefully, we, at one point in time, I was chastised to stop begging people to come because I want people to come. I want people to want to come. And that makes it hard because some people, for whatever reason, don't want to come back. That kind of makes me sad.
Yeah. I mean, so the being busy or having a conflict, I get that. Those that have just kind of, what's the word I want to use? Divorced themselves from our class. Does that sound
Yeah,
right?
that's kind of harsh, but yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know if they had just a bad experience back then, and once they're out of it, they're like, I want no more part. No part of it anymore. I don't know. I mean, and then when you get off, and I'll speak for myself here. I've been, it's been 35 years. You have these. It's almost like it's like a separate life.
Mhm.
I have like all my, and I'll just go use volleyball as an example. I've got all my volleyball people that I've spent 10 to 12 years with, and sometimes I actually forget. Oh wait, I got all these other people back from high school and stuff, and it's like two different lives.
It's everybody's kind of segmented.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's understandable. I mean, you can't, there's so few people that maintain, lifelong friendships, no matter how close they were in high school or whatever. I mean, but I just hope, anybody that hasn't come because they didn't feel, I don't know, didn't feel welcome or had a bad taste in their mouth from elementary school or high school or whatever. I would just love to see everybody give it a chance at some point just to see.
yeah.
Because everybody has lived a whole lot of lives in the last, whole lot of life in the last 35 years.
So, what do you think the impact what's the social media impact been on reunions? I was actually looking up some of that stuff today, and I saw it's kind of a mixed bag.
I sort of say probably both.
It's good in that you're able to track people down, to reach out to people, but then it's a negative because if you're Facebook friends, and I think we're Facebook friends with just about the majority of the class, and we have our group set up, you almost kind of you stay up to date with them daily.
You're like, I don't need to go because I know what's going on and whatever.
Yeah. And so, and there's expensive traveling and stuff like that. And, but yeah, I mean, so it's good and bad.
Yeah. I think the more people come, the more people go, hey, that was cool. Like, I know what's going on with these people. And it even gives you, from the flip side again, I guess it's a three-sided coin, but because you're kind of keeping up with people on Facebook or whatever, then you have something else to talk about. So you can talk about old times, and then you can talk about current times when you see each other, and it's more than you would do, and just like commenting on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah. And then there's, like James, who's either locked out of his Facebook or, I guess hasn't been on in a while.
Yeah.
But, man, it was really good to see him. I haven't seen him in, well, I don't remember which reunion it was I was at, but yeah, it was really good to see him. I mean, it's good to see everybody, but
Yeah.
I mean,
We spent more time with him just because he came Friday night too,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and the tour just more quality time to get to catch up, and it was cool.
Yeah. So there was already talk of 40,
Right.
having one at 40, and Ken
Yep.
offered to host it.
Yeah, I think he was about to offer to host this, and about 3 seconds before he did, Carver came in and
Okay.
said, "Hey, I'll host." So
So he offered to host at his place and do the brisket or
oh yeah,
smoke whatever meat.
yeah,
And yeah, we've already got a built-in theme for that. Would be Weekend at Bernie's.
that's true.
So we could have T-shirts made up, and Ken Bernie's his name. So that's for those who don't know, that's where that's coming from. So, do you think there's any pressure to do something different? So, like I said earlier, the past reunions have been tour of the school, and then kind of a get together. Some classes, you'll hear about some of these schools and classes that go on cruises and stuff. Like, I'm never going to get my wife on or get Amy back on a cruise ship, or my girls or at all. But do you think we ought to do something different?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought about that. I mean, even
And I'm not
this
complaining.
time.
I don't make it sound like I'm complaining
Uh-huh.
about. No, I'm serious. But do you think we should do something different?
Yeah, I just don't know what different yet. But I mean, like even this time, the tour, because we did a tour 5 years ago,
Mhm.
and I think we did one 10 years before that. We weren't really sure if there'd even be interest in a tour, but there were enough people that were coming back for the first time that hadn't seen the building. I mean, and it is way different
Yeah.
than the Mustang Mountain, the little bitty Mustang Mountain
Yeah.
that we left. And so I think we weren't even going to do it, but there was enough interest in doing one that we went ahead. But that was all it was. It was just a tour, and then we kind of went and ate on our own. Whereas last time we had a big brunch and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, Ken's house is a little bit out of town, so I think it would lend itself to be a little bit different if that's what we end up doing. Just because people that are like us that are coming in from out of town,
Yeah.
it's 30 minutes away from where we went
Conway,
to school.
right?
It's in
The
Conway. Yeah.
left-handed capital of the world.
Really? That's random.
Swear, I don't know if Ken's left-handed, but everybody I knew or know from Conway is left-handed.
That's weird. It's a weird statistic.
Kind of a random note there.
That may or may not
I
have any
always-
factual truth. to
Yeah,
it.
I always well, a lot of it was from baseball.
Oh yeah.
Playing teams in Conway, and it's just like lefty after lefty. I mean, it was amazing.
What do you have a bright idea for how to make it different?
No, I mean, I'm kind of like
Because if you're going to be complainers,
no,
then
I'm
you've
not
got to
complaining.
you've got to come up with
But-
another alternative.
I don't know what we would do. I mean,
The one year we did something different was we did it during homecoming instead of in the summer, and that was interesting. But it's been kind of weird. Like we have a weird class of the 52 people because we have people who have grandkids who are
mhm.
14, 15 years old, and then we have classmates who have babies.
Yeah.
So, like during football season, when the majority of people had high schoolers, that's problematic.
Yeah, you can't
Because
travel.
you can't
It's hard to
travel because you've got your own kids doing football and stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think in a future time when pretty much everybody's kids are out of the house and everybody's empty nesters, a homecoming adventure might be a good thing on the docket, but I don't think we're quite there yet.
Yeah, because sports have changed quite a bit out there too.
Yeah.
For those that we sucked. Was there any sports that we were good at that?
Well,
back
we
then? Well, I mean, we
won
won-
basketball in junior high.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, like district or something like that. But
Yeah.
I mean, nothing got any kind of state recognition. I don't think.
I
back
think there
when.
were like a
Maybe- was
couple
it,
of
was it
runners.
cross country.
There was like a runner that did something with cross country or track or what. We went. They still have our trophies up from like the 80s
Mhm.
in the school.
We had trophies.
Yeah, there were like 6 from the 80s. Now they've like won state and like multiple things. But
Yeah.
y'all started the baseball team. They didn't even have a baseball team until we were what, juniors?
It was our sophomore year was the first
Okay.
year. That was actually, you know what? I don't. It seems like we were getting a lot of pushback back then on
Like they
trying to
didn't
start.
want to do it.
Yeah, on trying to start a baseball team, and I don't know why.
I don't know.
It seems I feel like I got that. I had that feeling that we were. I don't know if it's because they thought we were going to be. I mean, we were pretty good from the get go because we had a lot of guys that played baseball, during the summer and stuff. So we were pretty good, but it just seemed. I mean, it seemed like they made it very difficult for us to. Of course, it may be money too.
Yeah.
We had to raise money, raise our money or raise the money for everything that we did or had, uniforms and stuff like that, selling pizza at lunch and things like that. But I mean, it seems like we never got any. And maybe I don't know. I was 16 at the time,
Yeah.
and didn't pay that much attention to finances and things like that. And
But they won after we graduated, right? Didn't they
yes,
win state?
they won the state the year
Sorry,
after we
Steven.
graduated. Yeah,
But y'all started the foundation. They
Yeah.
wouldn't have had the chance to win state if it hadn't been for y'all
that's true. That's true.
fighting that battle on whatever the battle was.
So that's actually we've kind of segued into our next topic, then versus now. Of course, we talked about some changes in the school. The campus looks nothing like it did when we were there.
There's 2 hallways and upstairs that look the same-ish.
Yeah.
Like we would walk down the hall and we were like, this was Miss Hendrix's room and this
Mhm.
was Mr. Schramm's room that's now like a theater or something or other. And we could go down the hallways and pretty much pick out those rooms. Mr. Ullum's room.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then like the auditorium was our gym.
Gym. Yeah.
And so it's weird to be in there and go, there used to be a big Mustang painted on that wall and
Yeah. That was a
this was a rubber
basketball.
floor.
Yeah,
and-
rubber floor, and that was really that. Of course that auditorium's been there for quite a while. But yeah, that's always really weird walking and seeing that and knowing that it used to be a gym and now it's an auditorium, and
Fancy.
they've got 2 other gyms. They've even got a practice gym, and then they got the regular game gym. It's just really
and a band hall. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Are you kidding me with this?
nice.
Sorry about that.
All right, so yeah, the campus is completely different. So let's talk about things that happened then that wouldn't happen now. And of course, and we actually talked a little bit about this past weekend with some of the people who were there. Staying at teachers' houses, spending the night at teachers' houses. Now, Mr. Ullum, I love him, but he's no longer with us. Really sucks. He lived
45 minutes away.
No, 45 minutes is from
Oh, yeah,
Jacksonville to
from Jacksonville,
Searcy.
so
then
an hour.
He was an hour away. And he was our English teacher. And
From like junior high through, we had him probably 3 or 4 times, like 7th grade, 9th grade,
Yeah.
12th grade.
and great friend. And he would, he lived up in Searcy, and he would invite people up. Now, of course, girls couldn't stay over, but some of us guys, we would all go up there, and he had, his big movie collection. We'd watch movies, and of course, you
And
were
that
over
started
there.
in 8th grade. I mean, like I have pictures. I did bring visual aids, but obviously we can't use them on the
We might have
podcast.
to post a
And
picture.
Stephen may or may not have chastised me for that, but they are here for reference. But 8th grade, we were there. I mean, watching movies, and we've talked about this recently because, like, what did our parents do? Like, because they had to drive us an hour away and then hang out for a couple of hours. Like, they just went to
Yeah,
Wendy's.
I
Like,
didn't even think about that.
yeah, I can't figure it out. Like, I literally don't know what they were doing. But I mean, I have pictures from 8th grade and 9th grade when none of us could drive, and we were
Yeah.
at a party at Mr. Olm's house.
Well, I know if it was during the week.
It would have been on the weekend.
Okay. Because I know there were some times when I spent the night there during the week, of course.
But you were in high school. You didn't do that in junior high.
Well, we'd have to drive right by my house on the way to school so he could drop me off or do whatever. But, just the whole staying at a teacher's house. And I told my girls that, and they're like, what?
But it wasn't weird at the time.
No, I mean, it was
I mean, our parents let it. I mean, they didn't let the girls didn't spend the night there, but
maybe I need to ask my parents. Yeah,
I did ask them, and they don't remember what they were doing either. Because they were, I mean, I know they were there.
yeah,
I mean, somebody had to get us there. There was a lot of kids.
yeah. It's crazy.
But one of the other things kind of along those lines was we had a lot of lock-ins. Like,
Yeah.
we were at a school that you weren't allowed to dance, so we didn't have dances for anything. But from junior high and high school, we
Yeah.
had
Locking.
lock-ins, like overnight, lots of dark classrooms
Yeah.
with movies playing. And there
Movies.
were, I mean, there were teachers there,
Halfway paying attention.
but not everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, you can only, you can only be in one place. You can only have so many teachers, and there was no real way, I don't think, for them to lock off everything. So you could pretty much go throughout the school wherever you wanted, with whoever you wanted.
I mean, I don't know that there was too much tomfoolery. I'd like to think, in my brain, I like to think there wasn't. But I mean, it was a lock-in.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Don't see those happening.
I don't know how that was okay.
Okay, so there was one time I went to a lock, and they were watching The Shining. Was it The Shining?
Probably.
And I came in and was kind of sitting in the back, and I had an air horn.
I
Were
mean,
you-
that
were you in there?
tracks. I don't know, but that tracks was something that you would do. And let me just add. This is a little bit of an ad, but I need to add this. So when we were in 8th grade, just backtracking a minute, we had a New Year's Eve party at my house, and we were
I know where this is going.
and we were watching Nightmare on Elm Street for some reason, and no, that was later. But in 8th grade was a party where we were watching Psycho, and that was fun. But we were in high school watching Nightmare on Elm Street, and Steven gets up in the middle of the movie, and it's dark. Again, there's like, I don't know, 10 or 12 of us in there.
And there's snacks in the kitchen.
There's
So
snacks in the kitchen. So he just gets up and goes to the kitchen. And then, for some reason, my mother aided and abetted this, and Steven comes back in between us and the TV and throws out his hand full of plastic knives taped to every finger that my mom had given him to scare the absolute crap out of every one of us, mostly me. But it was horrific. And every time Nightmare on Elm Street pops up on something, there's this little, I don't know, I get like a little Facebook tag.
yeah, I remember that. That was
Horrible.
quite fun.
I'm sorry to
enjoyed
derail that, but I just,
Okay, so there's a picture that I just absolutely love that could never be taken today, and it's like a mafia style picture.
from junior senior banquet.
Yes, and so it was me, Mr. Ullum, Lance, and Scott Whitus.
Yep.
And again, I guess mafia style, is that
Yeah.
how you describe it?
Yeah.
With
Good
Mr.
fellas.
Mr. Ullum holding an Uzi, a fake Uzi, of course, but it's just so funny, taking that picture then, and you could never do that today. And of course, things have changed. Back in school, you pull up in the parking lot and you've got guys with gun racks
Yeah.
in the back of the truck and stuff like that. Is no big deal.
Butterfly knives and Chinese throwing stars at
Yes.
school
On the bus.
on the bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was it that said the other night? It was
Robin said Chris Jones taught her how to flip a butterfly knife.
on a bus trip.
Yeah.
I forgot about the butterfly knife.
And I know Bo had one, and those Chinese throwing stars too. I mean, why we had those at school? I don't know.
Because we were going to be ninjas.
I guess
We
so.
were told that in America we could be whatever we wanted, and some of us wanted to be ninjas. Dress code.
Yeah, that was funny.
So no shorts in the hallway,
So
right?
right. So in PE or in like cheerleading practice or whatever, if we were in the gym, we could have our shorts on. But if we had to go to the bathroom and go into the hallway, we had to put on sweats or our cheerleading skirts, which ironically were not actually skirts. They were
Dresses?
skirts. They had like they
Oh.
were divided, like they weren't actually skirts. I mean, now I see
Oh, they
pictures.
were?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh.
They were not.
Well, you'd know.
Yeah, and they had could be no longer than like 4 inches above the top of the knee. Now I see pictures. I mean, no spaghetti straps, no topless. I mean, topless. Strapless.
It's-
Certainly,
campus has
still
changed
no,
quite a bit.
still no topless, but no strapless, no spaghetti straps. I mean, things have changed with the dress code a whole lot, and they actually wear uniforms now to school,
They
which
do?
is which is one thing that we even wanted to. So we didn't. I mean, the days that
I
like,
didn't.
well, a lot of the girls did. I mean, it was Tuesdays and Fridays when we had basketball games. We could wear our cheerleading uniforms, and those were the easiest 2 days of the week because we didn't have to
Hmm.
think about it. But there were a lot of kids that wanted to wear uniforms and they wouldn't let them. But now they do.
Even at the
I
on the
think all.
secondary?
Yeah. Oh, for sure at the high school.
Okay, so Amy wants to talk about the bus.
Well, I mean, it was, when
We were having such a great
for-
conversation,
for-
and everything's going really well, and now you want to. I'm never going to run for office for anything, so I guess it's okay that we
It's
talk
fine.
about this.
You were just talking about a teacher holding an Uzi, so it's fine. A fake Uzi. But anyway, so on the bus there was it was a private school, so it was kind of weird, like the route. There were just a handful of places that it would pick up and take kids from the elementary school areas to the high school. And nowadays people play rock, paper, scissors all the time, and my kid plays rock, paper, scissors, and for whatever to make decisions, and they just do like rock, paper, scissors,
Yeah, here we go.
and then it's over. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, what happens when you lose? And they're like, nothing. You just, and I'm like, oh no.
That's no fun.
That's not the way that I was taught to play rock, paper, scissors. And the bruises that ended up on my hands because we would play rock, paper, scissors on the bus, and then if you lost, then you traded licks on your and the licks would
and-
involve licking
I
two
was
fingers,
fixing to say licks was literally literal.
licking two fingers and slapping the forearm on the inside. The part that's like that hurts.
Of
and-
the loser.
The loser would get
You have to
that.
pay.
And my kid is horrified that this is a thing that we did, but I had bruises up and down my arms for a really long time because
Because you sucked at it.
but I also dished out some licks.
Yes, you did.
If you will remember.
Some justified, some unjustified. All right,
Yeah.
what grade? I know you're, since we're going there, what grade are we talking here?
It was like seventh grade,
Okay.
maybe eighth.
All right, go ahead.
What? That's it. And Stephen, most of the licks that were on my arms that were bruised came from Stephen. I don't even remember who else was doing it. It was mostly you.
I'm trying
But
to
I-
remember, I don't
but I,
remember people from our class that were on the bus.
Lance sometimes, James sometimes, but it was
Yeah.
usually on that first leg.
I just remember John Ward and Tate Arnold on the bus tormenting me.
Yeah, well, you probably deserved it.
Probably so. Knocking my hat off, taking my hat, stealing my cap because
Mhm.
I would wear a cap or hat occasionally to school, and they would take it from me, and it was bullying, really,
But I mean,
kind of.
yeah,
And I made the mistake of telling my girls about that on the bus and how frustrated it made me, and so now whenever they walk by and I'm sitting on the couch, they just knock my head off. My blood just instantly boils.
it just takes you right back to 7th grade, doesn't it?
It just makes my blood boil.
Okay, so we're going to step back on the timeline a little bit because I thought Robin might call in, and I had a little bit of a bone to pick with her. So in planning, and you know where I'm going with this. So in planning for this recent 35-year reunion, we had a group text going of 6 of us: me, Amy, another Amy, Angie, Robin, and Carper.
Right.
And the whole green bubbles, that's a whole nother story.
Because there are 3 green bubbles on that, or 3 sources of the green bubbles on the text,
Yeah,
which is a
that's-
pain in the neck
Yeah,
anyway.
that's a whole other gripe. But anyway, so Robin was our person on the ground in North Little Rock, getting quotes for the barbecue and stuff that we were going to have catered out to Carper's house. And so she'd already gotten some quotes from one other place. And then she got the quote from, what was the place we had?
Whole
Whole
Hog.
Hog. That's who we ended up going with. Shout out to Whole Hog.
It's really good.
Yep. Although the mac and cheese was kind of meh to me.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
The mac and cheese is the best.
Really?
Really.
Okay. It was kind of meh to me.
It wasn't as good as it was at my dad's funeral reception, but it was still good.
Anyway, where were we? Oh, okay. So she got the she got the got the quote from Whole Hog, and okay, I'm 53 now, and
So are we all.
yeah, the timeline of my day has changed drastically. Okay, and so I remember specifically it was 10:24. You're probably going to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure it was 10:24.
I got to search back through too many green bubbles to get to that
Yeah,
point.
10:24 at night, and Robin was like, I've got this quote from Whole Hog. Maybe I should send it out in this group text now at 10:24 at night. And I'm in bed, half asleep, and all of a sudden, ding. And okay, I know you're going to say, why didn't you mute your phone or put it on Do Not Disturb? Well, Angela, my youngest, was out. And so if she's out somewhere, I don't put my phone on Do Not Disturb or anything like that. So it stayed active. And so when she sent that out, it just immediately activated, I guess, everybody else that was still awake. I think you said your phone was on mute, wasn't it? Or on,
So I didn't hear it all.
and all of a sudden, ding, ding, ding. And I'm just, you know what? I almost changed my RSVP.
You almost bailed.
I almost bailed because I was just so upset because I couldn't go to sleep. I love you, Robin. But
And because of all the green bubbles, every time somebody liked or
yeah,
hearted
repeats the
or
whole
whatever,
message.
it repeats the whole message, and so that's an extra ding.
Yeah.
So that just like compounds the
I
problem.
mean, it's just like, okay, let's send this quote at that time of night, and then okay, yeah. I mean, we can't really action on it, at that time. So, but yeah, I'm glad we got it as early as ASAP. ASAP means ASAP. I love you, Robin. Don't take that personally.
We do appreciate all of her
Yes, very much.
reconnaissance on
She was
food.
hell bent on getting that mac and cheese.
For me.
Yes, for the
She's sweet for me.
they weren't going to cater it, so she.
They insisted that they never catered the mac and cheese, but I went back and found all of my notes from my dad's funeral,
Of course, she did.
and Alex was the person who, I guess I shouldn't say his name, but I had his name down and everything of who we ordered the mac and cheese from, and it was part of the catering order, and that was one of
In
the
that
reasons,
location.
yeah, that location, and that was one of the reasons we even went with Whole Hog in the first place, because it was well liked by everybody there, and I knew it was close.
Yeah.
And they weren't going to do it, but she was sweet, and her son was sweet, and he went in and
She did a stealth order.
got us some macaroni and cheese, and it was gone, every drop of it.
Was it?
Yep.
Was
we
there a
had-
lot of food left over? Because
Yes.
there was.
Yep. There was quite a bit of food that we bagged up, but not a stitch of macaroni and cheese. So it was worth it.
Glad we got that quote though.
Yeah. Did you even tell her, or were you just waiting to spring it on her today that you were so annoyed about?
I didn't
the midnight text?
say anything to her,
You were
knowing
saving it.
knowing that you and I were going to talk about this, and then or do this recording, and then if she was going to join on the phone. That was one of the reasons I wanted her to join too. Plus, I mean, she was, like I said, she was a valuable resource for us on the on the ground in North Little Rock. So yeah, but I didn't say anything. I was waiting to do it here. So I had shared it with you.
Yeah.
I think
But you didn't tell her.
next day, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah.
And you were like, "Well, you had."
I
your
was
phone-
asleep, so
Yeah, you had
I was
yours
like,
on
"Why
do
wasn't your
not-
phone on mute?"
Yeah, I've got a young daughter out that needs to be have open line of communication. So
I wanted to say something else about people on the ground that were helpful. Karen and Danny Sullivan
yes,
came to open up the school and help us with the tour, and
Mhm.
that added an extra level of fun for all of us because our campus was a 7 through 12 campus. Danny was actually a senior when we were in 7th grade, so we technically went to school with him, and then he went off to college for 4 years,
Mhm.
and then came back, our senior year was actually student teaching. And so then it was a very weird thing where he was a student with us, and then all of a sudden he was one of the teachers. And his wife, Karen, was her first year teacher. She was our cheerleading sponsor, and she taught us our accounting classes and stuff. And
Accounting, and I had it for accounting and business law, and wondering if she may have was rethinking her
life
decision to
choices.
teach. Yeah, when she encountered me. So
Twice.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah, and she was only 4 years. They were, only 4 years older than us, or 4 or 5 years older.
That's weird to go back and
Isn't
think
that
about.
weird?
Yeah.
And so, and they're still teaching there, both of them.
Yeah.
So it was really cool because they could step through all of the changes that have happened because because we were their first class.
Mm-hmm.
They remember us and things. And even Danny in his classroom has pictures of our football team and the track girls, I think, our senior year track girls.
Yeah, and he's getting ready for his 40th reunion, which is actually, it was also Angela.
Your sister-in-law.
My sister-in-law, she was in Danny's class. So they've got their 40th coming up. And
it was fun. They have composites for everybody, every graduating class, and they've managed to keep them. So throughout the whole school, they were there. And Danny's class was like the third class in color.
Oh, was it?
Uh-huh. Like from all the classes, there were, the first 3 classes, and then he's like, you're old when you're back on that back wall. And then ours wasn't far around the corner.
Yeah. I remember when we were over at the gym looking at that part, they had the plaques up there for like all the male athletes of the year and the female athletes of the year. And I saw Amy's name on there.
Your wife.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Amy's. It's hard to keep track.
There's a lot of Amy's from class of 88. So I took a picture of the plaque and put it in, we've got a family chat. So I stuck it in the family chat and I said, do you recognize anybody on this list? And of course, Anna replies back, Auntie. And I was like, I started looking at it again. Amy's sister.
Oh, she was on it too.
She was on there too.
That's funny.
And so, and then like a minute after Anna replied that, she's like, oh, and Mama. So the grand sisters were athletes of the year. So maybe that's where my girls get their, they played volleyball. I didn't play volleyball, of course. But we had some stud volleyball players. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Amy, thanks for coming in and joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for those that are listening. And again, our schedule is going to vary. I'm not sure how often we're going to do more episodes, but there's more coming. So thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next one.